What's up, guys, and welcome to Saturday Morning Heroes. I'm your host, Small Time Hero. Let's talk Fillmore. So this week we are covering Fillmore. Fillmore is a show that came on Disney during 2002 to 2004. It had 2 seasons, 26 episodes, and we are going to talk about the characters, the plot, the background information, and all of those great things right here on Saturday Morning Heroes. So let's jump into it. So first, let's talk about Cornelius Fillmore. Cornelius Fillmore is a 7th grader at X Middle School. He is originally from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio to be exact. He has 2 parents, Kern and Joel. He spends time with his grandparents, and he has a dog. He also has a fish named Thelonious Monk, which he actually ends up replacing, naming that fish Miles after Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk being also a jazz musician. So there are heavy jazz references in this show, and honestly throughout a lot of the show we do get a lot of pop culture and like kind of 70s and 80s references, so be on the lookout for those. Despite Fillmore actually being a transfer from X Middle School, technically labeled a delinquent, he has pulled a few different counterfeit heists, he has some partners in crime, and also he has taken out some very well placed grudges on teachers. So let's get into that. Fillmore actually has 2 delinquent partners in crime. They are Penny Madrid and Sonny Lombard. I want to go ahead and address the fact that every character in this show is named after a San Francisco street. So if you recognize these names, it's because these characters were named after San Francisco street. So while Fillmore is considered a delinquent, he's pulled off a milk heist, he's pulled off a chalk counterfeit heist, he has pulled off a soda bottle rocket heist actually. So he's pulled off a lot of things, and him and his partners have, basically kind of made the halls of X Middle School a little bit of a hell. So one thing about Fillmore is that he is incredibly smart. He actually wanted to join the mini golf team, and when he was rejected because he was a delinquent, he beat them all and basically smashed their pride and their mental capabilities, honestly. So what we see in Fillmore is a multifaceted character who has, issues with, his delinquency and, having to question what is the right thing in situations where the right thing isn't the moral thing to do. And we love an onion character, right? We love a character we can pull back and see these different layers in. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like Fillmore has a cult following, because there are a lot of us that really do love this show. And while rewatching it, I realized I truly enjoyed Fillmore past the cop propaganda situation, because it is a lot of cop propaganda. It's incredibly funny, and it has a very light-hearted way of going about things. It handles it well enough for a child to be like, oh wow, that's cool. And I think that's really cool for a cartoon. So while running a counterfeit chalk scheme, Wayne Liggett is assigned to the case that Fillmore is participating in, and Wayne Liggett actually gives Fillmore a chance to come out of his delinquency, join the safety patrol, and become Wayne's partner. But he is actually the person that opens that up and offers him that actual opportunity. So we find out that Wayne is his good friend. He does come back very often, while Penny and Sonny don't necessarily come back up. We do hear about Wayne a lot, and Wayne gets his own actual episode, which is one of the key episodes, but we'll get to that soon. So we are going to go over Fillmore's partners, because I think those are really essential to his character and his character development. So Penny Madrid is one of Fillmore's characters. Actually, Penny and Fillmore have a very viral meme together about chicken, which is funny, but also funny weird. But yes, so Penny is that character, and Penny was one of Fillmore's very close delinquent partners. She actually gets in trouble for trying to snuff out a person who was coming into her baseball card counterfeit scheme, and that's actually how we get an episode with Penny Madrid. I'm sure Penny probably was going to come back if they would have gotten more more seasons, but of course not many seasons, so yes. Sonny Lombard. Sonny Lombard is Fillmore's other partner in crime. He actually sets Fillmore up to basically come back to the life of crime, because when Fillmore left, Sonny didn't actually take it well. He felt like Fillmore was better off with him and being a delinquent. So Sonny decides to change out the brake lines on Fillmore's bike into condiment sprayers. He also almost hits Fillmore in the head with a remote control airplane, and all of this is to just get term papers and everything. But of course Fillmore is an upstanding young gentleman and the ever-present cop or ever-present detective or ever-present safety patrol detective, and already kind of sussed out what Sonny was up to before Sonny even knew that what he was doing. So we love Fillmore for that. All right, so let's talk about Fillmore's safety patrol partners. Wayne Liggett. So Wayne is the person who brought Fillmore in to become a safety patrol. Fillmore was running a counterfeit chalk scheme, and Wayne Liggett actually gave him the opportunity to go straight and actually be his partner. We find out that they aren't only partners, they actually became really good friends, with Wayne actually writing back to Fillmore, who is still at X middle school while Wayne has moved away. And they write quite often because Fillmore actually has an episode where he spends a week with Wayne, and he finds out what is actually going on with Wayne and the safety patrols in his school, which are actually not up to snuff. They are on the take. How many ways can I say this in cop dramatic ways? But basically they are dirty cops. They are dirty safety patrol, which is really funny. But Wayne actually is able to turn them in, and with the help of Fillmore, turn around the safety patrol at his school. Ingrid Third. So Ingrid is Fillmore's newest partner. Ingrid is actually from a different school. She transferred into X middle school. She has an extremely high GPA. She is an extremely high overachiever, and honestly, we don't see her study much, but it's because she has a photographic memory. We actually see her read things for one time and actually can remember them scenes, crime scenes she can remember, and different things like that. Ingrid is well versed in gymnastics. She gives you a flip here or two. Ingrid is also very interested in learning forensics. She actually Ingrid is very interested in learning forensics. She actually spends time with Tahama to learn forensics from her. So we find out that she is very, very smart, but Ingrid is also seemed to be a bit impressionable, because in the episode where Ingrid was actually sent undercover, a lot of the safety patrols were confused if Ingrid would actually go and come back, or if she would stay with the Red Robin. So you make sure you check out that episode to see what happens with Ingrid and the Red Robins. So Ingrid is also a delinquent. She spent time at multiple different schools, and she was sent to Nepal as a deterrent school because of a piñata and a stink bomb, which also leads to her first days at X middle school being a bit chaotic. So when Ingrid does get to X middle school, she is basically kind of shaped out to be the smartest person in school, and of course there is a student who does not like that. That is the former smartest, which is Parnassus. Parnassus is upset, and he basically sets up Ingrid to go down for a stink bomb incident, and also he is trying to get Ingrid out the way so that he keeps his status as the smartest person in school. Of course, Fillmore is able to clear Ingrid's name, also take down Parnassus, but Ingrid becomes Fillmore's partner, and she joins the safety patrol squad, and it's almost like it's full circle with Ingrid. And we also find out that she is incredibly kind-hearted. So while we do know that Fillmore was canceled very early on, we do actually get a cameo of Ingrid in Jake Long, the American Dragon, which is, you got to be quick by the eye, but is everywhere on social media and on YouTube, so you can go check those out. But yes, we get a very quick We get a very quick cameo of Ingrid in American Jack and Drake Long, which I love when Disney connects their cartoons, or when Disney used to connect their cartoons. I loved it. Horatio Vallejo. So Horatio Vallejo is the safety patrol captain. He is over the whole squad. He is very high-tempered, often because of Ingrid and Fillmore, because they destroy property at X Middle School often, all the time. Principal Fossum's first point of contact whenever the safety patrols do something is Vallejo. Vallejo actually had two different partners in his long spent time at the safety patrol as a safety patrol. His first partner was Malika, who he lost to the Red Robins, which prompted the episode of Ingrid going undercover with the Red Robins. His second partner was Frank, and Frank actually so the conversation about Frank is a little bit weird. So what Frank did was he tried to stop an assailant with gazpacho, which the assailant was actually allergic to gazpacho, which caused an issue with the parents, and the parents came to the school and talked to Principal Fossum, and Principal Fossum had Frank step down instead of being fired. So Vallejo kind of took that hard, but he was also promoted because of Frank being, made to quit. So there's tension, if for lack of better words, there's tension there. Karen Tahama is our crime scene investigator. She is very good with forensics, and she is actually pretty funny. She has a very funky style, which I think is a little bit more of the stereotypical thing, but also really kind of cool when you think about it. She does also have a partner. Her partner is Joseph Anaza. He is more like a bodyguard, but he's also her partner. He is well versed in combat, but he is also a safety patrol, and he takes his safety patrol oath very seriously. Danny O'Farrell. So Danny is the joke of the squad, but he is the crime scene photographer. Vallejo says that Danny probably shouldn't be a safety patrol because of his non-coordination and lack of being able to keep his bowels together. Like, he's always throwing up. Like, there's an episode where there's a train wreck and he completely voids his stomach, which is really funny because it's just like, how is this making him sick? But yes, he is a very weak stomached character who is often dramatic. He's incredibly dramatic, but also he's very, very helpful and has a heart of gold too. When Fillmore actually lost Thelonious, he was one of the first people that went to the store and got Fillmore his replacement fish. So he cares about the squad. So you got to keep him around. But he's not very good at his job, and he's more of a bumbling idiot, kind of. Dawn S. Folsom. So Dawn is a principal. She serves kind of like as a commissioner character, where the money and things get handled by her, but of course who's doing the chasing down is the safety patrols. She often tells the safety patrols, specifically Vallejo, that if they do not solve the crime, that she will be turning the safety patrol hall into something completely different. But we do know that she's not bluffing, because the safety patrol squad room is also the Glee Club annex. One thing I will say about X Middle School is that it does have its plethora of after school and extracurricular activities. Vice Principal Raycliffe does serve as Principal Fossum's right-hand man, and basically the lieutenant commissioner. He would be considered a lieutenant commissioner in the realm of cops. So yes, he is her go-to, he is her yes man, and he is usually on her side. Let's get into the plot of Fillmore. So Fillmore is an American cartoon that took place during 2002 to 2004. It is based on cop dramas, and it was created by Scott M. Glimpsey, who is a renowned director, producer, screenwriter, showrunner. He's done so many different things. It's honestly interesting that he actually got his start doing animation in very classic animated shows that we actually know, with Fillmore, Pepper Ann. So he's had a lot working for him at Disney. So Fillmore actually serves as one of the last series that was produced by Walt Disney for ABC, actually. And it kind of can tell the animation has changed and different things, but the feel is still very much so Walt Disney ABC, right? The show creator is Scott M. Glimpsey, and Scott actually got his start. He graduated from UCLA and he wanted to work in comics. At the time, the only comic studio in California or on that side of the country was actually Bongo Comics. Yes, Bongo Comics, created by Matt Groening. I know I may not be saying his name right. I listened to it and that's just the way I pronounce it, so don't judge me. But yes, by Matt Groening, and he was an intern there, so he was not actually getting paid. But in order for him to subsidize his internship with the Bongo Comics, he actually started writing scripts and writing things for animation. And so soon he actually got a job on Pepper Ann, which is a Disney animated show, which also came on ABC Family. And like, the Disney, Walt Disney, ABC kind of thing is a lot there, but one day we'll actually sit down and break it down. He started working on Pepper Ann, and as you can kind of tell, Pepper Ann and Fillmore actually have like some simpatico like things going on about it, especially how they did the animation and the graphics of the movement and the conversations in the show. While Fillmore isn't extremely popular like, let's say, Kim Possible, Fillmore does have like a cult following of kids who remember and love the show for everything that it was. Cartoons had a place where they could actually be different things. We have this idea that we talk about how Marvel can be like, oh, it can be a cop drama, or it can be like lawyers in court, or it can be like, you know, a garbage man. Like, cartoons used to have that premise, and this is one of those premises and worked very well. I don't necessarily know if it wasn't getting watched and that's why it got canceled, but definitely I was watching it, and Fillmore has a very, very interesting premise where like you take safety patrols and make them cops. And I will say I was a safety patrol growing up, so it did kind of, you know, resonate with the kid in me, but also like it's so well written and well put together that honestly I think anybody would love Fillmore. So there is actually an animatic for Fillmore, and if you want to go check that out, there's a Scott M. Gimple video on YouTube where he actually is at the Bronx Community College where he's doing a kids Comic-Con, and you can actually hear some of the information that I actually have. But yes, that's where I got that information from. So yes, we have talked about the plot, we have talked about the characters, we have talked about the background. So let's get into the key episodes. So the key episodes are episodes that are going to give you the most background knowledge or the most background characters or like background flashbacks or things like that, because most episodes, I won't say they're filler, but most episodes like kind of deal within the cop section of the show. But in order for you to understand these characters, you have to have a little bit of background, and these 5 episodes will give you a little background into these characters. So for our first episode in key episodes, it's Red Robins Don't Fly. This episode is the episode where Ingrid does go undercover as a Red Robin, and we actually find out that Vallejo lost one of his partner Malika to the Red Robin. So that is your first key episode. Make sure you go watch that. The second episode is A Cold Day at X. This episode actually deals with Fillmore and his justification of what he does. There is a term paper that is supposedly being told around school that is going to be stolen, and the teacher whose class it is doesn't necessarily, I won't say she doesn't care, but she believes in the honor system and she believes that her kids will do right. So she actually tells them where she hid the test and how to get it, and she leaves her class unlocked. But Fillmore, actually not trusting the students, spends the night at X Middle School and is snowed in. So that's another episode for you to check out. Number 3, A Forgotten Yesterday. A Forgotten Yesterday actually brings up Fillmore's old acquaintances, and I think that's a really good episode for you to like get into initially to kind of understand Fillmore's background. South of Friendship, North of Honor is the episode with Wayne Liggett. We actually go to Wayne's school where Fillmore is out for a week, and he actually goes to Wayne's school and he is introduced to Wayne's new safety patrol squad. And initially from the beginning and from the very beginning, Fillmore spots that there is something not right and that Wayne is actually not right and not the person that he remembers. So it kind of dives into Wayne and Fillmore's relationship, and you find out that they've kept contact even after left X Middle School. Number 5 is Immune to All But Justice. This episode actually deals with Penny Madrid, who is someone that used to run with Cornelius Fillmore in the past, and Fillmore actually is trying to help her because she seems like she's gone straight, and they actually have competition coming to the school and everything, but there is a counterfeit baseball card scheme going on, and she is smack dab in the middle of it, and it is one of the most famous memes from Fillmore. So make sure you go check out that episode, and the name of that episode is Immune to All But Justice. So yes, this has been my Fillmore episode. I know my Saturday morning heroes are very long usually, but honestly it was only 2 episodes of the show. It did not stick around for that long, so it wasn't a whole lot to get into, but we did hit the very important episodes. If you want to go check out Fillmore, it is on YouTube for you to enjoy. So if you do go and watch it and you like see things that you want to discuss, or you see things that I missed or things that I said wrong or things like that, you know, let me know in the comments and we can discuss them. So also make sure that you subscribe, like, and share this episode. This is our long form show. This show will come out every week, so you will be looking forward to a new Saturday Morning Heroes episode every week. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, you hit that bell for notifications, and yeah, let me know how I'm doing. I'll see you guys next week.